So if you're traveling to Belize, be prepared to have maybe a hiccup when you're checking in at your first destination. We flew out of Denver and it took over an hour for the agents to get us permission to fly on down through Houston onto Belize. The issue was Belize International Airport was changing their requirements one day after another. So they were looking at old information, even to the point where at one point they said we still needed to have a COVID test before getting on the plane. Fortunately, they were able to find the right information and we were cleared to fly out of Denver. Now we're in Houston. We're waiting to get on the flight to Belize. The biggest hiccup here was security. Those people that have TSA pre, you could go right through, but those that don't have TSA pre and have to go through the normal security, be prepared to take some time and potentially having a pretty good frisk.
So we anxiously wait to board, having been stuck out of the country for over 6 months. United Airlines has opted to change their boarding process. Instead of boarding by group, they first board the first-class passengers, then everyone else by row, starting with the back of the plane. The United Airlines flight from Houston was more crowded than we expected. I think there were about 10 empty seats. The airline is being careful about offering snacks and beverages. They only offer a snack bag and non-alcoholic beverages, at least for those not in first class. All passengers had to wear their masks the entire flight, except for when taking a drink or a bite of their snack. Finally, we're back on the ground in Belize, but for the first time in this COVID environment. Once on the ground, airport staff made sure social distancing was followed. There were multiple checkpoints and health stations. The country of Belize requires that all passengers download and install the Belize Travel Health app. One hiccup for me was that I could not log back into the app after I once completed it. So follow this tip. Once you initially get your QR code, do a screen capture so that you have a copy of it in your photos on your phone. To help identify the difference between Belizeans and visitors, tourists are given a yellow wristband to help the process of identifying those who must follow different protocols while in the country. If you do have a COVID test within 72 hours of your trip, it can fast-track the process once you arrive. Since we did not have a COVID test prior to our trip, we were required to get one at the airport. It was the nasal swab type, and although uncomfortable, not unbearable.
All right, now we're going to get the test results and do the waiting.
We were then escorted to a waiting room to get our results, which took about 35 minutes. Thank goodness our tests were negative, so we were able to proceed to baggage claim, then customs. It was fascinating to see the Belize International Airport partitioned off and social distancing protocols in place. We then caught another flight to San Pedro, and after over 6 months, we're back home, happy to quarantine 10 days before venturing back out into the community. We can't wait to get back into our country and our world back to normal. For the most current information to enter Belize, visit BelizeTourismBoard.org. And together, we'll get through this. For the San Pedro Sun, I'm Ron Sniffen reporting.